Ladies and gentlemen, welcome your host, Yoel Silver. So recently, the Titanic has been becoming a lot more popular again, and it's not because, they're making a sequel, but because a bunch of more people died 100 years after it already sank. And the can of worms that this has opened. People are underestimating the ripple effects of what happened. Guys, something huge happened. I mean, personally, I think it's just the universe balancing things out. Because, dude, the Titanic is it's like magical. The more you keep learning about it, the more you get fascinated. And I've been learning so much about the Titanic ever since the submarine went down there. And it's been heavy on my mind. I can't shut the up about it. And if I have to learn this, so do you. I want to prefix everything before the video even starts, is that if you don't know what the Titanic is, I'm gonna give you a little summary. It's this boat, okay? It was the biggest boat of its time. In the early 1900s, though, all of the world's elites were sailing from London to New York or something like that, but then they hit an iceberg and sank. Some people survived, a lot of people died. Cruise ships are way bigger these days, like maybe even 50 times bigger than the Titanic was at the time, but at the time, this boat was a big deal. It was such a big deal, we learn about it in school. Because apparently if enough rich people die within close proximity to each other, it deserves to be in textbooks. If poor people die in close proximity, no one cares. So, as we were learning about this in school, one thing that they conveniently did not mention is that, did you know the boat was owned by JP Morgan? I was 30 years old when I found this out. What? And not only that, he was supposed to be on that boat, but he ended up not being on the boat because he was cheating on his wife. What? And they forgot to put that in the textbooks, and I'm not having no Mandela effect because, guys, when I was in high school, I remember taking a test about the Titanic. So, no, I would have remembered this. Would have definitely remembered if JP Morgan was the one that owned the Titanic. What a convenient thing to not let you know. One of the, probably the richest person of all time, just flew right by us. Don't put that in the textbooks. If you don't know who JP Morgan is, I'm not going to go over who he is. I'm just going to let you know that the character Wario from Mario, yeah, that's who he was inspired by. And that says all you need to know about him. The funniest thing about this whole experience is I'm learning that JP Morgan is the person that owned that boat, He also got an insurance claim when it sank. And now the story was getting a little bit fishy, so I Googled, is JP Morgan... Did JP Morgan commit fraud? Did the Titanic really hit the iceberg? Or, I don't know, maybe something else happened. And my boy JP Morgan's was gonna get that fat paycheck and get rid of a bunch of his ops that were definitely on that boat. JP Morgan was one of the richest people in the world, and some of the richest people in the world were on that boat. What, you think he didn't butt heads with them? That's right, because rich people don't all want to be the richest person in the room at all times. Rich people definitely play fair. So, yeah. Sorry for thinking that JP Morgan might have committed insurance fraud, because when I Googled it, somebody on Reddit made me feel like a piece for spreading misinformation, for having a wrong think. Because, guys, according to inflation and blah, 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 he actually lost money on that boat, blah, 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 blah. My bad for not trusting a billionaire. Whatever, the Titanic is just so weird. And I love how Cardi B put herself in the whole mix by exposing the dude's stepson, completely dragging him all over social media, saying that he would rather go to a Blink-182 concert than help get his dad back. And I don't know if people talk about this, but that kind of makes Travis Barker a part of the Titanic storyline canon. And if we really use our imagination, that kind of makes the Kardashians a part of the Titanic canon now by association. This is getting weirder and weirder. So I'm not sure who's keeping count, but the Titanic's total death count is 1,517 plus 5. It's so crazy how 5 rich people were just so bored one afternoon that they decided to go see the Titanic that sank hundreds of years ago. There's nothing to see. Died the same exact way when a bunch of rich people were so bored they were going to sail from London to New York, but hit an iceberg. Did you know that they're making a Titanic 2? In the sequel, they found bones of the people that were on the Titanic, and they were able to make replica clones of them. And one of them is Jack's bones, and when he comes back to life as a clone, he's looking for his Rose.
Rose is dead, Jack.
Is that the truth?
This summer, Jack's back.
Okay, obviously that's a fake trailer, but you get the point. The Titanic is hilarious. There's definitely comedy behind it all. Let's zoom out a little bit. These people dying in the submarine captured the attention of the whole world. The same way that people that died on the Titanic captured the attention of the whole world, to the point where we have to learn about it in our history books. So I would love to our future history books to include Cardi B, Travis Barker, the Kardashians, and to really teach our young that the Titanic is not a story about rich people dying on a boat. It's about people not taking precautions and dying early. It's actually a story about Darwinism and that we live in a society that rewards the brightest of us. So, survival of the brightest, baby. That's what the Titanic is about. Or, you're so bright that you were able to get away with insurance fraud. For the love of God, if you made it this far, as always, press the like button. And if you thought this video was funny, wait until you see my video about how Air Canada is wrong for this. I'll see you there.
You need me.
They don't give a shit about you, they're just in it for views. You